All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for 2 or 3 real people out there, just like you right there, and like me. All right, before I get on with this video about how it looks like maybe Burton Cummings has opened up a can of worms, and not to get gross, but people are popping their popcorn as these worms scatter about. So I'll get to the 2 other bands I think that could be somewhat vulnerable to what's going on with the current lineup, the Guess Who current lineup. And we'll go through the whole Guess Who scenario again so people understand what's happening. Before I get there, this band here, Holy Crap Batman, the Crows. Now, again, not to be confused with, say, Counting Crows or the Black Crows. There are birds flying around. These guys are just the Crows. And the album is called Ready When You Are. I had never heard of this band. People told me, hey, they've been around for a while. Oh, you finally discovered the Crows. I had a couple people say that to me. This is fantastic. Classic rock with sounds probably both from the 70s and 80s, but really on the classic end of classic rock. All right. And you probably should go listen to it to just confirm what I'm saying. Please do. I don't think you'll be disappointed. The Crows, Ready When You Are. I think I had this imported from somewhere and it finally arrived today. So going to be sharing it with the audience. That is a good find, right? Because nobody else is talking about it. I did send the band a message saying, hey, I'm going to be promoting it. They didn't know who I was, which is fine. A lot of people either don't know who I am or just trying to ignore me altogether, which at some point, I'm going to probably appreciate more than I actually do right now. So let's get back to this story, the Guess Who and Burton Cummings. People are popping their popcorn. Why? Because Burton Cummings might be taking down the fake version of the band, as he calls it. Yes, they have the legal rights to the name. Let's be clear. But that doesn't always mean that the band is going to be anything like the original band. And in this case, it really isn't. The first sentence here is kind of comical in this article. Comes to us from MSN.com. When it comes to the classic rock band, the Guess Who, its moniker, that's another fancy word for their name, its moniker seemingly fits its current lineup. You get that? See what they did there? Because it's the Guess Who, and you have to kind of guess who is in their current lineup. That's pretty funny. They couldn't figure out what to call the band when they started, and so now that's come full circle, and you have to try to guess who is in the band. That's good stuff. Somebody needs to write a book, right? Just put it all out there. Put chapters in the book. Here's the Guess Who. They started as this band, and they ended up with a bunch of guys who, well, weren't the original band. So they go on to say, there are no original members in the current touring lineup. It's tough to keep track of the names. And that's raising hackles. It's raising hackles. All right, it's raising the hackles of Burton Cummings. What's a hackle? Anyone? What's a cubit? One of the co-founders of the Guess Who and responsible. Do they have anybody like over 40 writing articles? One of the co-founders of the Guess Who and responsible for some of its biggest hits. Some, such as American Woman and These Eyes. Yeah, just 2 songs and just some. How about most or all? Burton Cummings, genius, right? Wile E. Coyote, Burton Cummings, genius, super genius, should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, brilliant songwriter, brilliant musician, a legend in Canada. Shut up, you. I mean, what are these people? I mean, this, and again, this band not in the rock, and they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're rock royalty, for crying out loud. responsible for some of their good songs, couple of hits here and there. American Woman, we prefer the Lenny Kravitz version. What? No, stop it. Oh, by the way, Lenny Kravitz, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame before Burton Cummings. Old man yells from front lawn and scares kids away. That would be me. Okay, what else we got here? Oh yeah, Rolling Stone reports Cummings has canceled. This is just a recap because I've already covered this. Has canceled his performance license agreements, meaning the current Guess Who can't perform any songs that Cummings wrote, co-wrote, and published. It also means no one else can perform Guess Who songs live. And astonishingly, because they can't believe this, that Cummings is sacrificing royalties from his songs used in commercials, played on the radio, and elsewhere. So you won't hear any of the Guess Who in those big pharma commercials. Ozempic cannot steal music from the Guess Who, although they pay for it. But you know what I'm saying. Thank goodness, huh? It's bad enough they ruined a great song by the band Pilot. I'm still bummed out about that. Ozempic instead of magic? I'm willing to do anything to stop the fake band, Cummings says. This, according to Rolling Stone. They're not the people who made these records, and they shouldn't act like they did. This doesn't stop this cover band from playing their shows. It just stops them from playing the songs I wrote. Translation, it stops them from playing shows. Now, why is this article different from the other one that I covered? Well, it's a little bit more entertaining. But what I'm going to do now is add some drama here, because people love drama, right? They don't like, hey, you want me to talk about the Crows? Here, the Crows, classic rock. It's really good. Check it out. No, Dave, tell us about the other two bands. Okay. The first band, Little River Band. They are very vulnerable to this same thing going on. If you missed my interview with Graham Goebel, who is an absolute, he is the Australian? He is the Australian equivalent, I was putting two words together, of Burton Cummings. If anything, Graham might actually be even more like the Paul McCartney of Australia. And I'm serious. He's humble, though. He's brilliant, humble, and most people don't know who he is. I've had him on a couple of times, and he's explained his frustration. There's a band here in the United States doing kind of the same thing that this other band is doing. And, I'm thinking that they might be vulnerable if here's the issue with LRB. They've been trying to do this now for many years. And full disclosure, as I've done in other videos, I was on the complete other side of this. I used to make fun of the original guys, and I didn't know that much about the situation. And the more I learned, see, I can change my mind on something. People freak out. They're like, you used to be pro this, and now you're pro the other guy. And I'm like, well, I found out some information, and there's actually a video on YouTube, and I may have talked about this before, where they explain in detail what happened to the Little River Band. And you'd have to be a lawyer, an accountant, a party planner. You'd have to be all of these different things to figure out what went on and how these guys who just wanted to play music, record music, and get what they deserved for doing that, how they got basically the rug pulled out from under them without them really knowing. And yes, is it their responsibility to know? Yes, that's why the other guys will say, well, they lost. They lost in the court of law. And so, yeah, but they're not losing in the court of public opinion. And they're not losing when it comes to radio airplay. These are their songs. So they could come around and say, you know what, guys, we're going to do a little Burton Cummings on you here. It could be a new thing. You just got Burtoned. That would be awesome. Burton, you're a hero, buddy. Just for trying this, you're a hero. And the thing is, again, LRB airplay is probably I don't want to put numbers out there, but probably 5 times greater than what the Guess Who is putting out there as far as airplay, getting their songs on the radio. They're a Canadian band. See, here in the United States, we're okay with Australian bands. Not sure why that is. We're okay with some Canadian artists. We're okay depending on who it is. But it seems there's a bias toward Canada where there isn't the same kind of bias toward Australia. I have no idea why that is. So anyway, Graham Goebel, I mean, I could see him doing this in a second. Now, will he? I don't know, because everybody's getting a little long in the tooth and a little tired of dealing with this. And I think they would just rather have this be like the farewell tour. That's what I'm thinking. But nobody's announced that it's going to be the last time. And there are, if you've seen shows recently, there are different people singing now, and it's a little weird. Just saying, it was already, you know, a little sketchy, and now it's gotten sketchier. So the other band, and this one I'm throwing out there for shock value, because the LRB one is an obvious choice, and you may have your own band that you're thinking of that I forgot about. The other band that may be a little vulnerable is Styx. Yep. First of all, just have Dennis come back and do a farewell tour. And I'm sure Dennis wouldn't even think of this. Now, I'm not saying Dennis DeYoung would do this. All right. I don't think he would. I honestly, because he was very charitable throughout the years when people had some issues. He said, hey, somebody had a financial problem. We said, hey, let's fire up the band again. And then when the band was firing on all cylinders, they kicked him out. And again, I guess there are people out there that say, I don't understand the Styx situation. Well, I've talked to a couple of people that are pretty close to the situation, and they've told me just directly the details here. So I'm putting out information that I don't think anyone else has really covered. I don't think Dennis would do this. But Dennis, imagine Styx is already not playing a bunch of songs because they're already kind of doing some of this. But you pull the rug out and say, okay, you can't perform Lady. Now, they started to play Rubato. They wouldn't be able to play Rubato. They wouldn't be able to play Come Sail Away. Co-writes are part of that as well. Again, though, Dennis, all of his songs that are still being played out there, and I think there is a slow, steady increase in airplay because really nobody's coming to save the classic rock world with substitute songs that can replace these classic songs. With LRB, the song Lady, their song, it's funny how Styx has a song called Lady and LRB has a song called Lady. That song just continues to grow with airplay. Graham and I were talking about that, and it's just phenomenal. You go out driving around in the car, and I always hear Lady, and it's such a masterpiece, as are pretty much all of their songs. With Styx, all of those Dennis songs, yeah, you don't like Dennis DeYoung? You don't have to hear. Now, here's what could happen too, right? If Dennis had the chutzpah to go ahead and do this, Styx would say, fine. This would be in character. Styx would say, fine, we won't play any Dennis songs. People aren't going to miss the Dennis songs. We'll just go and do all of the Tommy and the JY stuff. We'll do cover songs. We did a whole covers album, Big Bang Theory or whatever it was. We'll go out there and we'll play Pink Floyd songs. Nobody will care because we're Styx. That might be the response. I doubt they would fold up shop, but it would make their lives a little more difficult. And then the feud obviously would get bigger. But if Dennis wanted to be a real jerk, he could do that. I don't think he will. I think it's far more likely, though, that LRB will at least look into this. But again, Graham and the band, they would lose a ton of money if they said, nope, can't play, can't perform these, can't do the performance part of these songs. And that would be pulling the rug right out from under their revenue stream. And this is how these bands who are out there with the name, this is how they kind of have them by the you know what. Because, hey, if you tell me I can't perform these songs, you're going to lose a ton of money. Even if we do a bad job performing these, you're still going to lose a ton of money. So you have to weigh, is this worth it? Burton Cummings says it's worth it. Now, again, if you're super wealthy, you could do this temporarily, right? And then you try to kind of like, tire them out and say, okay, maybe in a couple of years we'll make sure they're too old to play the songs or something. I don't know. Wait it out. But then you allow, performance royalties and all that again to come in, and they just go right back to what they were doing. And you kind of lose the battle. You win a little war at the, in the middle, but you lose at the end. So I don't know, folks. But this is a big can of worms that Burton Cummings has opened up. And you may know of a couple of other bands that might be vulnerable. This is why a hostile takeover of a band is a bad idea. It happened with Styx. Dennis did not want to be booted from his own band. Obviously, LRB, it was kind of a slow sort of, turning where guys left, and then all of a sudden, two guys who weren't there at the beginning end up owning everything that all of those guys created. That's just mind-blowing to me. It's just mind. It's kind of like if Pete Best somehow ended up being the only guy that was able to control the Beatles, something like that, which wouldn't make any sense. But, it's kind of like, all right, everybody leaves and everybody gives up their rights to everything. And then this guy who is kind of there a little bit, and he did some stuff in the middle toward the end. And now because everybody's out the door and they're just signing paperwork. Yeah, fine. Let me just sign the paperwork. Yeah, I'm out. And they think I made all the money I'm going to make, and they're not really thinking long term. Who could have thought that these bands would become franchises and bands, and catalogs would be sold for billions of dollars? Nobody could have seen that coming, as everything just gets bigger and bigger as the classic rock era continues to wind down. But we'll continue monitoring the situation. Burton Cummings, he's a hero. Good for you, Burton. You got to stick up for what's right. And I think in this case, he's doing what's right. So anyway, here are the Crows. This is a great band, classic rock band, and something new to listen to. Ready When You Are is the name of this album. Go check it out. Don't confuse it with the Counting Crows or with the Black Crows. These are just the Crows. They're flying without any other adjectives attached. So I think you'll really like the Crows. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. I apologize for this video. I know it offends people for me just to do videos, and I will try to be nice. I will try, turn the other cheek. God bless everyone. Please pray for peace in the Middle East and around the world. War is a really bad and nasty thing, and there should be less of it, not more of it. And no, it's not good for our economy to continuously fight wars. We're $34 trillion in debt. All right. So enough with the war. Let's focus on some peace.